Hi, I'm Eddie Burke. I've been the bartender at the Hollywood Improv for 40 years, and this is my podcast, Eddie's Bar at the Improv. All right, hey guys, this is Eddie Burke. Welcome to another episode of Eddie's Bar at the Improv podcast. This, of course, is my still my pandemic beard. I think one more week and it will be gone. And my very special guest today also has his pandemic beard on, Mr. Brad Williams. Yo, Brad, say hey.
Hello. Some people would argue that my pandemic beard is my wife, but I actually have a pandemic beard. So yeah, that's great. This is the first time I've seen you with a beard, Eddie.
It's going to be gone. It's like
I don't know. I think you should hold on to it, and then you and I should walk around malls in December and be Santa and an elf. It's going to be great.
That'd be a great idea. What a great idea. The only thing is, I don't think my wife would let me live that long if I don't take it off. I had to promise her that I was going to take it off when the pandemic ended or before I went back to work, if I ever go back to work. And she said, okay, but it's got to come off. So
she's not a fan. She's not a fan of beard.
Oh, hey, listen, I don't doubt or deny that. That's it. So, Brad, let's get to you, buddy. Let's get to find out a little bit about Brad Williams and being brought up in Fullerton, California, and all that. What kind of childhood did you have in the sense of like, how did it lead to comedy with the things that you did?
It's funny where I listen to a lot of comedians sort of give their, to use a comic book term, origin story. And a lot of it is like based in like there was a trauma or a bad childhood or a bad dad or something like that. And then I kind of look at my origin story and go, wow, I had a great childhood.
I listened to your I forget the name of it, your special with about your father, and that was hilarious.
Yeah, thank you. It's called Daddy Issues. It was on Showtime, but now it's a pandemic. You can stream it on Amazon Prime. It's on Amazon Prime, so you can do that. But yes, I had a great childhood, amazing parents. My parents, specifically my father, was probably so good that he spawned the comedy in terms of how self-aware he was. Now, because you have to understand, my parents are not dwarves. I am. I know if you're listening on a podcast, I don't sound like one, but listen to my act. I bring it up a couple.
You are?
So my parents are not dwarves. So my dad knew that as I would go to school that I would be bullied, that I would be made fun of. So his philosophy was, well, before my son goes to school and gets bullied, I need to bully him first. So this is not a new feeling to him or something that he can't understand or comprehend. So he would bully me as a kid, but not in a, like, I guess impossible not to bully in a mean way, but he would do it in a way that was like, okay, I just insulted you, now hit me back with something. Insult me back. And we would actually write like insults together and like write jokes and like, all right, so if someone says something to you. Yeah. He was essentially training me to be a comedian without knowing that he was training me to be a comedian. So when I first went to school, this is a very vivid memory for me where a kid came up to me and just, haha, you're little. And I looked at him and went, haha, your mom doesn't live with your dad anymore. And I grew up in Orange County, California, where you have about a 75% chance of getting that one right. I ruined that kid's day. And then I got sent to the principal's office for having the better joke. And then the principal actually called my father at work. And you were a kid at the time when were phones around when you were a kid, Eddie?
Phones? No, no.
Phones.
They were actually hanging on the wall when I was a kid, and it was like a group, a group talk. It was everybody was on the same line.
I said that as a joke, and then it's like, oh wait, no, they were actually like on the
Nah,
wall, like
nah, nah,
the
nah.
old
I knew it was
on
a
the
joke.
read.
I knew it was. So was my answer.
So the principal called my dad at work, and it was like, I'm gonna call your father, and I'm just sitting there like, all right, go for it. And the principal called my dad and said, like, your son Brad is here in the principal's office, and then my dad had a very simple question where he just said, did he start it or did he finish it? That's all he said.
Oh, beautiful.
And
Beautiful.
the principal said, well, he finished it. And then my dad said, well, then he's got no problem with me. Click, and just hung up on the principal. And
Good
was
for
like, it's
him.
fine.
I don't even know your father, and I love him. That's great. It's
Yeah.
like,
Oh, here's someone else you love, Eddie.
Jasmine, I was gonna make him bring you on. Where's the baby?
Baby's napping.
We have a baby? We have a baby?
No, that's why Diego's.
You didn't tell him yet? You didn't tell Brad yet? Where's the baby?
Well, he's not the father.
Obviously. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to see the baby.
She's asleep right now, but we'll bring her out probably. She only usually naps for about 15, 20 minutes. But yes,
if she wakes up,
Jasmine doesn't hop on any podcasts, but she knew that it was your podcast, Eddie, and that she demanded. So that's why we have a pit bull right now. The pit bull is watching the baby.
Well, you know what? Since you're there, it's funny. I learned something about you in the sense that, you could kick Brad's ass. You're a Taekwondo instructor.
Well, his ass is pretty close to the floor. I think just about anyone can kick it.
Hard.
How long did you study Taekwondo or whatever?
20 years.
Wow. 20 years.
Yeah.
And well, actually, is that how you guys met? Did you just, attack Brad in an alley or something like that? Or in a class?
She saw me running away with another woman's purse, kicked me in the head and said, that guy's kind of cute.
Yeah. So
luckily, I learned in 4th grade that hitting boys isn't how you tell them you like them.
Yeah.
How did you meet?
We met on a dating app, and when I was living up in San Francisco, California, and that's where Jasmine's from, and we met, and thankfully she apparently has very poor eyesight and
taste, but that's okay.
Yeah.
But we'll forgive her for all that because she's so pretty and she's so sweet, and she's like the opposite of you, Brad. But
I know.
We're gonna kind of let that go.
I think the phrase is I outkicked my coverage.
No, most of the time, now I say most of the time when you come in, I'm glad to see you because I know Jasmine will be there. If she's not there, it's not, it's just
not fun. It's just me. It's just all
me. I know. It's like
no cranberry juice for you.
Oh, inside joke.
I gotta go. Shit, it's Brad again. And I'm looking back there and there's no Jasmine and I go, damn. All right, Brad, here's your damn cranberry juice for now. I'm sure you're going up and we'll just go from there.
Oh no, I just come by for the cranberry juice, Eddie.
No. It's just to see me.
And for those listening, yes, I drink cranberry juice. And as much as I love the movie The Departed, it's one of my favorite movies. I hate the movie The Departed because of that one line where Leonardo DiCaprio drinks a cranberry juice and someone goes, "Drink cranberry juice? What are you, on your fucking period?" And it's like, yeah, because it's delicious. Why can't I enjoy something delicious?
And that's exactly why you drink it. All right, that's a good enough reason. But we also know that you have occasion to imbibe in other things besides.
Oh sure.
No.
Oh sure. Well, and here's one thing is. I was never a big whiskey or scotch drinker until I met my lovely bride over here, who is a whiskey and scotch drinker. I always thought that I hated the stuff, and then she started giving me things, and I was like, oh, I just hate bad stuff. Like,
That's right. Well, see what a good influence she is. I love that right away. It's like, when we were at Adam's party, Adam Devine,
yep.
July 4th, there was a little imbibing going on there, yes. So that's where I knew. I had always thought, well, Brad doesn't drink. And then I realized, well, he doesn't drink before he goes on stage.
Right. Yeah.
After that, it's every man for himself.
Absolutely. Then Two Beer Brad comes out. Oh yeah, that's good, and that's my nickname because that's really all it takes to get me drunk. I know it's a weird stereotype with me just being tiny, like, oh, what, you get drunk off like a thimble? It's like I want to get mad, and it's like, yeah.
Jasmine, how do you like his beard?
I like most of it.
Well, which part don't you like?
Use a little trim down here. It's starting to curl forward. Like it's starting to try to reach to do battle with the front of his face.
Oh, well, that's good. We'll talk him into trimming that. That's fine. Because I don't know. Did you notice my pandemic beard?
It's like wonderful, Eddie. You look very distinguished. A silver fox.
Oh, thank you. It's got to come off in another week. My wife has had it. And I promised her it'd come off. So, Brad, when did you start your stand-up career? When did you get started with comedy? You don't have to. You can stay, Jasmine, if you want, or you can go. Just make sure you bring. Just make sure when the baby wakes up, you bring the baby back.
Yeah.
Okay.
She will. This story is one that she's probably tired of hearing about anyway. I started comedy at age 19. It was I'm 36 now. It was Father's Day weekend, and I took my dad to the old Brea Improv, and the comedian on stage that night was making midget jokes, and half the audience was laughing, and the audience that was sitting by me was not laughing at all. And the comedian noticed there was that divide in the audience of like, only half of you are enjoying these jokes. What the fuck? And he looks over at me and goes, like, my section goes, why aren't you guys laughing? Is one of them here? And I just raised my creepy little hand in the air, like, yeah. And he saw me, invited me up on stage, and started asking me questions. He wanted to talk to me. And I answered, and I answered honestly, and my answers, I wasn't trying to be funny. I was just giving him the answers to the questions. And my answers got laughs. And that was when I was like, oh, man, this is sweet. I really like doing this. I was always a performer. I loved doing plays and musicals in high school and college. And I was even involved in improv comedy in high school, but I never really, and I love stand-up, but I never really thought stand-up comedian is one of those jobs where to me it's like NFL football coach, where if someone said, well, how do you become a stand-up comedian, or how do you become an NFL football coach? You go, I don't know, your dad's a coach, your dad's a comic, like that's how you get, like I can't tell you how you become an NFL football coach. So I didn't know what you had to do to become a comic, but the answer, and as you grow older, you kind of understand this. How you become anything is you start to do that thing. So if you want to be a stand-up comedian, you have to start doing stand-up comedy. And that sounds very simple, but at the same time, very like, okay, where do you go? So you write some jokes, you find some open mic nights, you go up, see if you like it. If you like it, you keep doing it. You just keep going up. And I remember my dad would tell me when I started doing comedy, be like, why are you going up to open mic nights? Do they pay you? And I'm like, no, they don't pay me. They go, well, you shouldn't go. And I'm like, well, because I'm not, no one's paying me. I've been doing, no one would pay to see my comedy right now. I'm like 7 months in, 6 months in. I'm not funny. So like, it still blows me away that people now want to pay to see my comedy. But
it's worth it. After watching, like I told you, the Daddy Issues special on Showtime.
Thank you. Thank you very much. But that's how I got started. And then I just started doing open mic nights. My very first time on stage was, I'm sorry to say these words in front of the legendary improv bartender, but my first time on stage was at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood, their open mic night. And I remember I went the week before just to watch the open mic night because I thought, well, I got to make sure that I can roll with these big time comedians at the Laugh Factory open mic night. And then I watched the Laugh Factory open mic night, and there was like 3 homeless guys, and then I was like, oh yeah, I could go up right now and just be funnier than that. But I planned my acts. I planned out the jokes. I timed it because I knew I only had 3 minutes, so I timed it to it ended at 2:50 to 2:55 every time. So because I wanted to time it, because I remember going up, and that when I watched it, and guys for 3 minutes would bring up a sheet of paper, put it on the stool, and then tell like a joke, and then pause and go, what else are we going to talk about? I'm like, you got 3 minutes?
Yeah.
Go.
I've told this story before on the podcast, and I'll tell it again because you probably haven't heard it. But when we used to work in the lab, attend in the lab for open mic, inevitably there would always be some comic who, after telling a joke and got no laughs, would say something like, come on, guys, that's my best joke. And I, of course, would yell out, then you got to get off the stage. It's like, it's just exactly right. You're given 2 minutes or whatever it is, 3 minutes, get ready. And if that's your best joke and they didn't laugh, don't tell them that, know, because you're done.
Do you, if you're making love to a woman, do you go, that was my best move, and you didn't orgasm? No, you have to. You don't tell her like you didn't like you didn't like the dwarf NATO. You didn't like the dwarf NATO. That's my best. No.
Wow. Who was the comic that was on stage?
Hold on. Before I say that,
okay.
This is what happens when you do the dwarf NATO correctly. Is there?
All right. Hi there, Elway.
I missed you, Eddie.
Oh, look at that head of hair. I am jealous. Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Born with that.
Mm-hmm.
She came out with a full head of hair.
Wow. What is she? 6 months?
5. Yeah.
5 months. Well, that's close. She was born in January, right?
Yeah, she was actually born on my birthday.
The 13th?
So, yep. Wow, you're good, Eddie. Now you're a bartender. You know all this stuff.
Yeah, look at her though. She's beautiful. We know who she takes after. That's for sure.
Oh, thank God she does too.
Yeah.
Thank God.
But yeah, it's like, that head of hair. I'm like, oh my goodness. I don't think I ever had that head of hair. Period. No matter
She's
what.
gonna get a haircut soon.
Yeah. We're
gonna have to let it grow. And she's a big girl for 5 months.
Yeah,
getting up there. I love it. How's your sleeping habits, both of you?
Surprisingly, not as bad. Like, don't get me wrong. The first, what would you say, month, 2 months?
2 months.
The first 2 months was horrific in that we lived downstairs in the living room. Like, we didn't leave. We have a bathroom down there. That's where the kitchen is. And we just didn't leave that room. That's where she slept. That's where we were. We couldn't go upstairs. Like, every now and then one of us would go up to take a shower, but it was rare. And it's just that first 2 months you don't sleep at all. But now she's
a lot of crying.
Yeah, it was hard to, and also we hadn't figured out her cries yet. Now we can go like, oh, that's her tired cry, that's her hungry cry, that's her whatever. But now, but that back then was just crying. So you just go through the checklist of like, all right, let's change her. All right, let's feed her. All right, let's put her down for a nap. All right, let's just keep going down the checklist. And
it being your first kid, you don't know what. I mean, and I think I've told you both this before. The best advice is to don't listen to anybody's advice. You'll learn as you go. Yeah. Kids have survived before. When my daughter was born, and she's the oldest, we had a little bassinet in our room, and she slept she slept in our room with us. And for 2 or 3 nights, she would be making these sounds like, and my wife and I are jumping up every 3 seconds. We don't know what's going on. We think she's dying or something like that. And then after like 3 nights, I said, that's it. We're moving her. We moved her into another room. It's like, as long as she's safe and okay, we got to sleep a little bit. But that's what they do to you. They just get you.
Just whatever. Yeah, just whatever
beautiful.
noise.
You guys did a good job. I like.
Yeah, Jasmine's the one that grew her. I didn't do anything, so all credit.
You helped plant the seed, so they say. So it's like,
yeah, but she's been great. She sleeps now. She wakes up on average once a night, and that's when you've been waking up 4 or 5 times a night, and you get once a night. Then it's like oh my god, it's just like a godsend. Now it's to the point where the few times I've been back on the road since she's been born, even though I can sleep in the hotel room and nothing's waking me up, I still wake up 1 or 2 times a night, and I don't go right back to sleep. It's like this dad switch that's been hitting my brain where I go, well, it's 1 o'clock in the morning. That's when she usually wakes up. So now I'm up.
Yeah, it's long-term sleep deprivation.
It's a personal question. Hopefully I'm not overstepping my bounds here, but are you guys planning on doing it again?
No.
Okay.
What we will tell her is that she came up, and there's a spit right on camera. Good job, Elway. What we will tell her is that we made the perfect kid the first time, so no need for a second.
If we have another, we're getting one prefab. I'm talking talking, potty train, all that.
Sleeping, all that. Yeah. So we will adopt. You know what? We may just adopt a 22-year-old accounting major from college.
That may be the best way to go. My uncle always used to say, if you could just get rid of kids until they were about 18, you'd let them come back in and live with you forever. It's the first 18 years that are like, till they get rid of those teenage years where they talk back to you and whatever, then they can come because they're now people.
Yeah, we're both convinced, and we have ourselves in the mindset of she's going to love the crap out of us until she's like 12, 13. Then she's going to hate us until she's about 22. Right. And then when she has to come back and live back at home, then she's going to love us again. And we're okay with that.
So you read that book, huh? Yeah. That seems to be the way it goes. Like, my kids were the same way. I mean, I was lucky with both of them. They were really pretty decent kids, but it's like so many people, it's like, I'm going to kill him or her. It's like, when they're asleep, I'm going in their room. I'm just going to kill them.
There's times, man. There's times when we're putting her down for a nap or doing whatever, where she is just screaming at this volume and right in your ear, and you have to be like, my instinct right now is to just go, and like chuck her over my shoulder or something like that.
Well, has she spit up on you and thrown up on you and all that?
Oh yeah, all that daily.
We don't know what clothes without baby vomit stains look like. Yeah,
like I have a pile. I used to be very not concerned with fashion, but just aware of it. Now I just have a pile of fuck it shirts, and those are just shirts that's like, all right, these are shirts I don't care about. These are shirts, that I don't mind if they get various kinds of stains on them, and I wear those all day, and then. It's very rare that I won't, unless I'm going on the road, because we also have the dog that sheds. So it's like, just
best of all worlds.
Yeah, we just have fuck it clothes, and I'm just thankful and honored that my wife still finds me decently attractive because I've been wearing absolute crap for the last few months.
Well, it's like when you can imagine my schedule when my kids were little. it was like, I'd come home at 3, 4 in the morning, and every single night, every night, one of them was up. And if they were sick, it was like they waited for me to get home as I was holding them to either throw up on me or piss or whatever.
Yep.
Just waiting until I got home. It's like, Daddy's home.
Yeah.
Oh
yeah.
I made you a present
like that.
There's definitely been moments like that. Now, if you ever talk to Jasmine and you say, Jasmine, what was the happiest day of your life? And she says, oh, the day that our daughter was born, or our wedding day. She's absolutely 100% lying. The happiest day of her life was when she handed me our daughter, and then she proceeded to poop over me. Like, all I can say is it was like a confetti cannon going off after the Super Bowl win. Just massive.
Was this in the maternity room?
No, this is home.
Oh, this is at home. Oh,
yeah.
God.
That's the happiest day. That's her happiest day.
Then you say bye bye, Daddy.
Yeah, and that's So
you didn't get a video of that, huh?
Oh, thank God, no. I mean, I don't know. I mean,
well, you guys did great. She's beautiful, and I like that name, and I'm envious of that hair. Just so you know. And yeah, it's like it. And she's getting up there quick. It's like you'll have your hands full shortly.
And it's so weird because everyone says, like, oh, the time goes by so fast. Enjoy this time. We're like, good. Let's get to the part where she's potty trained and walking and talking and like doing and like letting us know. Oh, I'm sad because let's get to that part. I know you're supposed to enjoy every part of it, and we are. But I feel like the people that say that are the same people that were telling me when I was in high school, hey, these are the best years of your life. And I'm like, I hope not.
No, they're not. Oh, God. High school? God, I don't know. And I can't think of anybody that looks back on high school as the best years other than, I don't know, maybe a cheerleader or something like that.
Yeah, maybe a cheerleader or like the high school quarterback that was getting laid at age 16, like every weekend. Like that. Oh, and there's my other child.
Oh.
That's the dog.
That's a dog, yeah. You got a whole menagerie there. What kind of dog is that? Doesn't look like a pit bull to me, Brad.
Yep. He's a Staffordshire, which is a bull.
Part pit, yeah.
Same thing. But he's, as you can tell, he's really good with the kid, and he just kind of sniffs her, and doesn't really do anything.
He looks like a lover.
He is. He does that. But yeah.
Let's get back to your second career as a comedian.
Well, and that's true. It's so funny you say that now, because now comedy to me it's like, all right, like it was always the most important thing in my life. But then you have a child and you go, okay, now it's a distant second, and I will, because there was a big debate in this house as the states were starting to open up and you can go back to comedy clubs, if I should go back, because if it was just my wife and I, okay, we're young, we're both not immune compromised, we're moderately healthy, like even if we get it, we'll probably statistically be okay, and okay, let's go back. But we had to really think about it in terms of Elway's health. And I have been back. I've done 4 gigs. I've done 4 weeks on the road, but I'll tell you, it's go to the club, go on stage, no meet and greet,
right?
Go back to the hotel room, and like the only time I leave the hotel room is when I go maybe get food, and the food I get is takeout. Like that's
what were the audiences like? Were they like doing the social distancing stuff, or just packing them in wherever you were?
They were doing the social distancing. They were at either like 35% capacity or 50% capacity. They do temperature checks at the door. You don't sit at a table if you don't know someone at that table. Like they don't because at the Improv you'll be sitting at a table back in the before time, and then just two people will sit next to you because it's a packed house. You go, okay, this is, make friends.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like, they space people out, and yeah, that I do the show, and the audiences were great. The audiences were fantastic. They were so excited to have entertainment again. They were so excited to laugh again that they
to
were
get out of their houses because they all probably have young kids and they want to get out. Huh?
It was that, yeah. But it took a while. But now, I was in Arizona, and I even got a heckler, and I'm like, wow, you're gonna heckle during a pandemic? Well done. That's some balls.
It takes all kinds. Nothing stops some people. So let's get back to who was the comedian on stage when you first went up that first time?
The comedian on stage was Carlos Mencia, and then he saw me, and I ended up being his opening act for 4 years on the road. He put me on his TV. Yeah, he put me on his TV show, and that's what kind of launched me into being a headliner in my own right, where I could start going out and doing hour sets by myself. So yeah, it was great. It was it was a cool little mentorship, and it was nice to have a guy that was selling out, theaters, and in some cases stadiums, and that's how you're learning. So it was awesome, and most of the comics I talked to that quote unquote make it have that person that helped them along the way. Either you think about name, like right now, think about the Joe Rogan coaching tree, sort of like in terms of like you can trace like either Joey Diaz or Tony Hinchcliffe or Tom Segura or Theo Vaughn or Callan, like all these guys coming, kind of Andrew Santino, like all very talented in their own right, all would have eventually done something or were already working on something that was making them successful. But then just need that little bit of boost, that almost validation to so many fans of like, no, this person's very good. And then now all their careers are like going through the roof, and it's awesome to watch.
That's true, because I've spoken to a couple of guys, namely, actually Craig Shoemaker, who told me, and I forget the names of the people that used to open for him or whatever on the road, and they're all big names now. And it doesn't matter what business you're in; you need them. If you have a mentor, the doors open a lot easier or a lot better for you, because it's tough out there. It ain't,
it's so crazy when I think back, like even in my short career of headlining.
Is that supposed to be funny?
No. Like Angela Johnson opened up a couple times for me, and now she blew up. Nikki Glazer opened up a couple times for me, and now she's destroying it and killing it. And she was going on she was on her theater tour when all this stuff kind of shut down. So yeah, like everyone, and that's why, generally in comedy, you'll see people that are very nice to the wait staff and people coming up and opening acts, because we all kind of did that. At some point you were the host, at some point you were the feature, at some point, and then you've done all that. Now if you're a complete sociopath, maybe you were just a dick the whole time, but
there are a few of those, and they're like, in my opinion, I've noticed in the field of comedy that most comedians are supportive of other comedians. It's not totally a dog eat dog world, I mean, people like say, don't worry, if you have a bad set, don't worry about it. It's one set, it's not a big deal.
Yeah, it's because this is such a club that, like, when you think about all the people that do comedy, and then all the people that get to that past the open mic level, then all the people that are able to go from there to feature and from there to headliner, it's a really it's a really exclusive club, and it's not that big. Not that many people truly know what it's like to grind it out from open micer all the way to headliner and then go on the road and do all those things. So when you meet another person who's able to do that, it's amazing to me. Like sometimes I'll be in an airport or I'll be at a restaurant or something, I'll be out and someone will come up and recognize me and start to talk to me. But if they say the words, "Hey, I'm a fellow comedian," boom, guard down, cool. Let's sit down, let's talk. Now I know that we can relate on some level. So it's really crazy how fast that can happen. But it's just that shared experience, and you've gone through it and you've done it. And I hate saying the word "it's a small fraternity" because fraternity is just men, and there's obviously tons of talented women that are doing it and crushing it as well. So it's really cool. It's really I'll tell this story. This is like kind of a local LA-ish story, but I can relate it to the masses. There's a social club here in Hollywood called the Soho House, and Soho House is like this very like hip, very like top, like show business people go there, and like really wealthy people, beautiful people. It's a club everyone kind of wants to be in, and it's very exclusive. And I wrote them to try to get in, and like 3 years after I wrote them, they wrote back and said, "Cool, we've reviewed you. We'll allow you to be in our club." And it was weird because after 3 years, I kind of stopped and went, why do I want to join a social club? Certainly pay to be in a social club when I'm already in the coolest club in the world, where I can go to a comedy club and see the literally the world's funniest people and hang out with them and have a drink. Like, to me, that's the coolest club. Like, there's so many moments when I'm hanging around the Improv or backstage at the Comedy Store or whatever, where I just think to myself, God, how many people would pay obscene amounts of money to be sitting right here, not even talking, but just listening and being a fly on the wall? And I get to do this and contribute. Like, I can say
the crazy thing about that is that it is 100% right, in the sense that when you're at, like, and I'll use the Improv at the bar, and there's just a boatload of comedians out there, and everyone or most of them, and they may not be the most famous people in the world, but that is like home. That's where everybody really wants to be. It's like, I'm guessing better than I. I'm not a comedian. I just play one. It's like, this is what it's all about. Here we are amongst Brad Williams, Joe Rogan, Dave Chappelle,
There's a great scene in the movie Comedian, the Seinfeld doc, that also has Orny Adams in it, and there's a great scene. And when I tell, like, this is the scene I describe to people, and they say, "What's it like being a comic?" I say there's one scene in that movie where it's backstage at the Comedy and Magic Club, and in that green room, this tiny green room, is Seinfeld, Chris Rock, Ray Romano, Gary Shandling, and Jay Leno. There might be one or two others, but those are the ones I know off the top of my head. And I go, you want to know what it's like to be a comedian? The wealth in that room is off the charts, where those guys can personally afford to be anywhere in the world, and there's nowhere else they would rather be than right there in that green room, talking and shooting the shit with their fellow comics. I go, that's what it's like to be a comedian. Also in Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, in the Chris Rock episode, Chris Rock tells a story that, like, the last time he saw Jerry, he was at a party and, like, ran up, and this is a party, like, for rich show business people, whatever. And then Chris ran across the room, grabbed Seinfeld's shoulders and went, "Comedian." And he did that because there was so much power and so much wealth in that room. But the only person that Chris Rock knew that he could talk to and knew he could relate to was another comic. So when he saw Seinfeld, he's like, cool. Like, you want to talk about a safe space? Comedians. It's the best.
I love it. I want to get back for a second to the Carlos Mencia thing.
Sure.
I want to make one statement, and that is that I would guess when you first went up there, or he called you up, your answers were a lot, and you're going to have to tell me right or wrong, were a lot like what your father told you to answer to people, you know?
I remember the first question he asked me was, because, you know, I was there, and obviously I was old enough to be there. So he goes, "What do you do for a living?" And at the time, I was working at Disneyland, SoCal kid. So I said, "Yeah, I work at Disneyland." And then that got a laugh from the room. And then I turned to the room and I go, "Fuck you, I wasn't one of the 7. And then that got a laugh. And I was like, oh, that felt good. Oh, that felt really good. To say something in the moment, come up with a line, say it, and then make a sold out crowd laugh. Ooh. So
it started.
That was the thing. And even now, and especially now that I've gotten to do a few shows back with live audiences, all the crap about being a comic that I didn't like, you know, whether it be your Friday night late shows or the travel or whatever it is, all that, at least for a while, I'm not going to give two craps about, because when the lockdown and the quarantine all first happened, there was a thought in my head, and I don't know if it came to your head too, Eddie, where I thought, ooh, I may not get to do comedy again. It's a possibility. I didn't want to think about that, but there was a thought in my head, like, this might be done. Like, this might be me with a horse and buggy business as Ford rolls out the Model T and just goes, well, shit. Like, now I have to. I
understand the reality of what you're thinking, because I've thought that about my going back ever. But the thing is, I think it's going to be the opposite in terms of comedy. I think comedy, when things get back, not normal, because they'll never be normal or the same again, but comedy is going to boom again, because people want to get out. People want to laugh. It's going to be like, oh, damn, you almost don't care who's playing. Let's go see him.
Yeah.
Let's go laugh. So in my warped way, I think there's going to be another boom. But one more question about Carlos, and then we'll move on. And that is, like, had you done open mics before you went up? He called you up?
Nope.
Never.
Nope. I did that. To expand the story.
Your baptism.
Yeah, that was the first time I went on stage with him, and then that night I told him, I go, I'm gonna be a stand-up comic, and he's like, all right, you know, good luck. And fast forward to a year and a half later, I saw him at the Ontario Improv, and then I came up to him before the show because it was the late show that I was going to go see. He was doing a meet and greet from the first show. So I came up and I go, hey, and he recognized me because, you know, I had one of those faces.
Yeah.
And he goes, oh, it's you. You're that guy from Bray Improv. He goes, did you ever start doing comedy? I go, yeah, I started doing it. I've been doing it about a year and a half, doing open mic nights and stuff. And then he goes, oh, do you want to open up my show tonight? And just right then, I'm like, yes, of course I wanted to. And I went from open mics in front of nobody except drunks and fellow comics that are dreamers, to that night doing the Ontario Improv, sold out. And it was after my set that he told me that, he goes, oh wow, I totally remember this. And he goes, I threw you up there because you're a midget, and I thought that was funny enough. But then you actually had jokes. And he goes, do you want to come on the road with me? Literally like that.
Just like that.
And then the next week, we were playing the Fox Theater in Bakersfield. I mean, he was playing the Fox Theater in Bakersfield, California. It holds about 1,200 to 1,300 people. And that was the next week. So it was like, and then I just became his opener after that. And 4 years later. And
that's a great story. I mean, you can't beat that in terms of the start of a stand-up career.
Yeah.
It's
and that's why, Eddie, if you're a comic and you show up to one of my shows, if I hear you're a comic and I don't have a guest spot already, one of my first things is, do you want to go up? Because I know how valuable that is. Now, don't get me wrong, that has backfired on me a couple of times.
I'm sure it has. I mean, if you don't know the person, it's like, I've seen many a time, or when some unknown comic has talked a rather stupid manager into letting them go up, and they don't have a single joke that's funny.
And the thing is I don't even mind if you're not funny. Believe it or not, I don't mind it, because you almost need that. You need to bomb in order for you to go well, like, because you need to try out your material in front of a real audience. And your Friday Night Late Show, your Saturday Night Late Show, that's a real audience. Your open mic night, depending on the location, because some open mics are really good, but your open mic night on average isn't a real audience. It's like I said, it's drunks and it's fellow comics, which, don't get me wrong, you need to do that because you have to be able to perform in front of those people to perform in front of the quote unquote real audience. Right. But so I don't mind if comics bomb, but there was one time I was in Oregon and I was doing this show that, and a guy came up and, yeah, I'm a comic, whatever. And I go, cool. Do you want to go on stage? You want a guest spot? Oh my God. Thank you so much. And I go, cool. You got 7 minutes, which is pretty standard for a guest spot. So he goes on stage and starts talking, and he's bombing. And it's like, okay, he's bombing. He tried, whatever. And they give him the light at 5 to wrap it up. Doesn't wrap it up. Keeps talking. And we're like, oh, and now it's like at 8 minutes. Because sometimes you go, okay, he hasn't gotten a laugh, but now he's like trying to get at least a laugh before he could go off stage. So I don't mind it that much. But then he keeps going. And then we're lighting him. We're flashing him. He's on 10 minutes, 11 minutes, 12 minutes. It's to the point where there's a line of staff in the back waving cell phones in the air like, get the fuck off the stage. And then now it's at 15 minutes, Eddie. And I promise you, not one laugh for this 15 minutes. Not even an awkward, like, mercy laugh. I finally walked up on stage. Now, there's still supposed to be the feature act. And then me. I walk up on stage, and he's looking at me like, what are you doing here? And I go, hey, man, high five. And he goes, okay. And he high fives me, and I grabbed the mic and went, tag, you're out. And the whole audience just starts cheering.
I was going to say, you probably got a standing ovation just for doing that.
Oh, my God. And then, so he gets off the stage. I did a few jokes to kind of get him back, and then gave the feature act the greatest intro that he ever had in his entire life. And then brought him up, and then I remember the feature act killed because the audience was like so starved for something that even resembled a joke. So
there's something to be said for having somebody that horrible go up before you because you can't lose, right? I mean, unless you're really bad. But
so then while the feature act was on, I brought up the feature act. I got off stage. And I go back to the green room, and this guest spot is in the green room, and he walks up to me and goes, hey man, what the hell was that? I go, what the hell was that? And then we had this whole argument. I remember he said he never saw the light. I'm like, you had a staff with fucking cell phones back there. And I get it if you're supposed to do 7 minutes and you do 8 or you do 9. I get that. Maybe you're on a roll. Maybe you're trying to find a good exit point. But 7 minutes and 15 minutes. It's something completely different. So yeah, that was my worst experience about giving a comic that spot. But I'll tell you my best story too, because I'll try to balance it out. This was at the Houston Improv, and I'm on stage, and I see a fellow little person in the audience, and I'm like, hell yeah, love that dwarves come out to see me. So, and I start talking to the guy, doing some crowd work, and this guy's shooting back zingers at me, just like bam, joke, and I'm like, what the? And I look at this guy and I go, dude, what do you do for a living? He goes, I'm a stand-up comedian. So I do something that you should never do as a headliner, where you're never supposed to give up the microphone. The microphone is your power.
Right.
And I go, well, you're a stand-up comic? Let's see what you got. Now, this is after I've done like 35 minutes, so I'm kind of coming into the landing zone of my set, and I go, sure, let's see what you got. And he walks up on stage. He's another dwarf comic. I give him the mic. I go, do 5-7 minutes. And he goes, okay. Dude kills, crushes. The whole audience is going nuts. He does his jokes. He gives him back. He gives me back the microphone, and I'm like, fuck it. And like, then I find out that the club hadn't really seen him before, and then they saw him do that and have a great set in front of that audiences, and then they started booking him more. And I'll give the guy a shout out, because I just saw him the last time I was in Houston, and I gave him a couple of guest spots, and he killed again. His name is now this is his real name, and he's a dwarf. His name is Clinton Shorter.
Oh, God, that's a tough one to live with. That's
it.
Clinton
That's his
Shorter.
real name.
I don't know. Has he been to LA? I don't think I know him.
He's not. He's not been to LA yet. I hope he makes that out here eventually. But yeah, that was sort of the best moment where, and then I come to find out later that he's like a huge fan, and like he's been coming out, like he's been following my career, and so to like for me to give him that opportunity was really something special for him, and I'm just like, fucking A, man, that's cool. And you have you can have beautiful moments like that in this business. You'll have the moments like I had in Oregon. Don't get me wrong. You'll have those. But those are always fun stories. Those are always fun stories to tell.
That's what life is all about. Those are the things you remember, is sort of helping somebody out or blindly trying to help somebody out, and it backfires. But, they're all very well-intentioned stuff. Hey, when did you first get up at the Improv in Hollywood?
Ooh, so you'll remember this. This is because I started opening for Mencia. I started meeting a lot of other Latin comics, and one of those Latin comics was Richard Villa, and Richard Villa ran Latino Night at the Improv, which was the 10:30 show on Friday nights. That used to be Latino Night at the Improv. So he started booking me on that, and that was kind of how I made my way in. And I loved doing sets at Latino Night at the Improv, because, and this will happen if you have a lineup of Jewish comics or Black comics or Latino comics, or if you're able to do a show with just dwarf comics, you'll have a lot of not the same joke, but the same life experience or the same perspective or the same thing. Right. So I loved going up on the Latino nights, because they've heard, 45 minutes of we could all fit in. Yeah, they've heard a lot of stuff about how, hey, look at this, we have a sold out room, and yet only 2 cars brought all these Mexicans here. Like they've heard jokes like that. And then I come up with a perspective that isn't like that experience at all. It's just a new life experience. And So I love doing those Latino rooms because I love the look on the people's faces when I would walk on stage, and I could literally like feel them be like, "Who's this fucking gringo?" And then I'd go up, do my thing, do well, and then they'd be like, "Oh, he's good." Like that was awesome. So that shout out
Fridays is what they were called. Refried Fridays.
Yes.
I couldn't think of the name for a second. Yep, with Richard Villa. And those audiences, and usually any audience that's specific, be it ethnic, religious, or whatever, are usually there to have a great time. You know,
yeah.
They're there to laugh. They're not there to like prove it to me or whatever. They're there to have a good time. And all of those audiences they all did that. They all wanted to. Hey, you also did a podcast with a friend of ours, Adam Ray, about last night. How did that get started?
That got started with my heterosexual life mate, Adam Ray. That got started because Adam and I had known each other for a few years. We actually both went to USC, so we had that connection. I had hosted a comedy competition at USC, like see who the funniest student was, and Adam was in it. And I remember the judges were like Jeff Ross, Russell Peters. It was crazy. Wow. It was a solid show. Yeah. And so then I met Adam there, and we just, we had a lot in common. He'd be a great hang. So when the podcast thing started going on, I thought, oh man, I need a podcast. So and I thought, who's a guy I wouldn't mind hanging out with for an hour.
Right.
And that was Adam. So I started doing the podcast with him. We did 500 episodes. And then we actually just recently stopped doing the podcast together. He's still doing it. It's still called About Last Night. It's still a great podcast. Everyone should subscribe to it. But I just stopped doing it because I had my daughter, and I'm already gone enough. I'm already gone so many days. I didn't want to miss my daughter's first words or first steps because we were interviewing, no offense, Eddie, the bartender of the Improv. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Listen, that'd be a horrible reason.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong. When you were on and we had you on as a guest, you were a great guest. You told great stories, amazing stuff because you've really seen everybody. So you were a great guest. But yeah, I just didn't want to have that conversation of like one day telling my daughter, we had to interview Jeremiah Watkins. That's the only time he was available, and that's why I missed your game. I don't want to. Right. I didn't want to do that.
Good for you. I remember when I did your podcast, you and Adam, that was only the second one at that point that I had done. I had done one several years before for Eddie Ift, and but his was totally different. You guys, I was totally a rookie in terms of like sitting down there and talking. I had no idea what to expect. The thing that I remember most was that the two of you just kind of knew where to go with me, and which was really good. There was no like, all right, Eddie, what do you got to say? Whatever. You guys had a direction. I don't know if it was planned or not. It really doesn't matter. But whatever questions were asked were like follow-ups to what was said. It was like, just well done. Listen,
thank you
guys. So it was a lot of fun.
And I'll say, and you're probably discovering this now that you have your own podcast. But just like the only way to be a stand-up comedian is to start doing stand-up. The only way to get good at podcasting and the only way to become a good interviewer is to start interviewing people. Yeah. So now that you're doing it, I'm sure that you're becoming a little more comfortable with it, and you're becoming to a point where it's like, oh, I can do this. You do a little research about the person, you learn a few things, you have a few places you want to go, but then at the same time, you leave yourself open to if someone starts talking about something, you don't just put the brakes on it and be like, yeah, you were just talking about your daughter, but what's the hardest you've ever killed? You know what I mean? Like, you know not to do that. And it's a skill like any other, and the more reps you get at it, the better you get. I will say this, Eddie, is that during this quarantine, there's been a lot of people that have asked me to do podcasts. I've done some of them. Right now, if someone doesn't want to do your podcast, it's because they don't like you. You know what I mean? Because we all have time. We have time. It's not that crap where it's like, I'm busy. I got meetings. No, you don't.
I totally understand that. And so now you're making me think that's why my wife doesn't want to come on. So it's like,
she doesn't like you.
I totally understand that. That's what, Mike, there's our problem. The people like me. It's like, okay, but going back to what you said.
But that's why I'm on the podcast, is because I like you, Eddie. And I miss coming out to the Improv and having these conversations with you. And so with the fact that you have this podcast and I can sit down and talk with a friend under the illusion of doing something where I'm helping my career, it's fantastic.
Hey, listen, there's 3 people that watch our podcast, and those are 3 more people that'll be fans of yours, I'm sure. What I wanted to say that with the podcast thing, the main thing I've learned is to listen, to listen to your guest or whoever you're talking to, and not be set in your questions or your way, just exactly the way you just described. And also, probably the best advice I got was before I started. And I was talking to actually Donnell Rawlings. And I told Donnell that we were going to start this and that we were going to, probably have a run through to see how it went. And he goes like, you don't do a run through, just go out there and do it. You don't need to do a run through.
Yeah.
Just go out and do it. And which is what we did. And, I've still got a lot to learn. I think I've grown. I hope I've grown with these things. It's I'm enjoying them. They're a lot of fun. It's nice talking to people about, or actually away from the bar, in the sense that it's not busy. I prefer doing the podcasts at the bar. Unfortunately, we can't do that right now.
Right.
But at the same time, it's kind of like, okay, well, we're on a different level here. Now we're just a couple of guys talking, about everything. And
and one thing that you'll discover, Eddie, is something that I discovered after the podcast is it is a skill set, and it's a skill set that does have real life applications. Because when I would go somewhere and I'd be stuck in one of those conversations that none of us want to be stuck into, of just some annoying person with no stories, I would flip the switch and go into podcast mode and be like, oh, I'll just interview this person. I'll act like we're on the podcast, but we're not on the podcast. And then that helped me so many times when I would be at let's just say I'm at the Improv bar and a fan walks up and sits next to me and goes, hey, let's talk about I just go, oh crap, all right, shit. And then I just started talking to them and interviewing them about their lives, because I didn't want to talk about myself. I had just done that for however long on stage, and they wanted to keep the show going. I'm like, no, show's done. Let's find out about you.
They probably love that too. I mean, that you ask about them, because most of the time when they sit down with a celebrity or whomever, they're talking about them. And to have somebody come back at them and go how was your childhood, or whatever the hell it is. It's did your dad beat you every day?
Yeah.
It's awesome. Wow, this guy's interested.
It's helped me out. It's helped me out at so many parties where there's no other comedians there, and I just go to the party, and then I have to I have to have conversations with people that in my head there's a man just screaming get out, get out, get out, this sucks. And then I just start I just go, all right, let's go into podcast mode, and I would start doing that, then I could survive the party, and then everyone walks away oh, Brad was really interested in what we had to say. I wasn't. I was uncomfortable.
No, I didn't. Well, Brad, I really want to thank you a lot for doing this. This has been great. It's been a lot of fun.
Of course.
I appreciate it so much. And like, I'm going to send you a little gift, which is a little T-shirt. Or I didn't mean that little T-shirt. It's a T-shirt. It's a T-shirt. Eddie's Bar at the Improv.
Yeah.
Off the air, you'll send me your address,
Yep.
and I will send this to you so that you can wear it proudly.
Oh,
wherever you go.
I can't wait for my daughter to throw up on that shirt.
She wouldn't be the first, I'm sure. But anyway. Thanks so much,
you,
Brad.
Eddie.
This has been really great. I appreciate it. I will hopefully see you soon in person.
Amen.
And tell Jasmine I love her and Elway too.
Absolutely. We love you as well. And I'll do this even if there's no podcast. I'll just hang out with you and we'll have a drink together. Cranberry juice, of course.
Sounds good. All right, guys. Thanks a lot. Next, I want to thank the Improv for its support, and Ali Reza and Caesar and Ricardo Bautista and everybody else. Until next time, peace out. See you next time.